Right. Today I'm going to demo the Evolving Structures organizational design simulation, which can be played individually or in small teams of 2 to 3 people. The learners will play the role of the CEO of an online travel agency specializing in sustainable travel. And the company is called the EcoTrip. And initially, the company is a small startup with an informal organization where everybody is doing everything. But as it grows, it will transition into an established mid-size company with a matrix structure, hopefully by the end. And during that transition, the learners will apply the organizational design concepts to evolve the company's structure to support its rapid growth. And there will be 3 rounds in the simulation. Ideally, the learners should be able to push the company through 4 phases, starting with an informal structure and then a more formal functional structure to a divisional structure to a matrix structure by the end, hopefully. So on the prepare page, after reading the background information about the company and the industry in general, the learners can begin the first round of the simulation by clicking this Reveal Your Challenge button. And here we see that the company has grown from 5 to 50 employees. The costs per transaction are increasing and the volume of transactions per employee is decreasing. And the employees are making more mistakes because they have too many different types of tasks, but not enough time to focus on a few to excel at them. On the customers front, most of them are, primarily located in North America, and the large majority are asking for standardized travel packages. So we clearly have to do something about it. Here on this dashboard, we can see different metrics falling into 4 categories about the health of our business, the people, process, finances, and the stakeholders information. Currently, we have 50 employees, without any real structure. And the company could achieve only 65% of its financial and strategic goals. And here I can watch this short clip of an employee who shares her experience so far within the company. First, I have to share my computer sound. If you can bear with me for a moment. Okay.
This place is pretty great. Every day is different. I mean, I'm go-to for everything. Part office manager, executive assistant, social media manager. That gets kind of trying sometimes when everybody is asking you for everything. I mean, I thought that I was hired for marketing. I thought I would get the chance to do it more. I was 25 when I was hired, and this felt like a break from my last job. But now, I'm getting to the point where I want to build my marketing career. I kind of thought that's what I was hired to do.
All right, so I think it gives a good idea about the current situation. The learners can also expand each of these panels by clicking these little plus icons at the bottom right corners to analyze each metric. So if I expand the people panel, I can see that my employees are quite happy so far with great collaboration and employee engagement levels. Processes, however, do not look as bright. The productivity level is below the industry average, and the decision-making time is 30% slower than the market average. The communication could be better in terms of the efficiency and clarity with which information flows from top management down to individual contributors. I can also look at the finances and the stakeholder information, which is screaming for change. We have very low customer retention rate. Only half of our customers recommend us to their friends, and our investors are very unhappy about our strategic and financial performance so far. So after having a good picture of the current situation now, I am ready to make decisions to evolve this organization to a better structure, which would result in an improvement in all of these metrics, hopefully. So the first decision I have to make is, what kind of departments I want to create in the new organizational structure. And in this first round, I'm just gonna select the wrong organizational structure, which will bring me to the results page immediately. And I see that, this was not the optimal choice. The structure has way too many departments for a company of this size. And this resulted in confusion among employees and further decreased productivity. I have to fix this now, and I'm 6 months into the simulation, and I can review my snapshot metrics here and compare it, with the current results and make new choices. So moving into round 2 of the simulation, I'm still in the same phase, the informal structure that I, started with. And somehow I need to find a way to move into the next phase, which is a functional structure. And this time I'm going to make the right decision by creating fewer well-defined departments, which will unlock the next question on centralization. This is about, who's responsible for making which decision within the organization. So who should be deciding our 3-year vision? Top management, probably. What new products should we add to our site? Who should be deciding that? Supervisors and individual contributors together, perhaps? I don't know. I'm guessing. And how do we serve our customers? I'll say individual contributors. The next question is on work specialization. Right now, employees are permitted to decide what job functions they would like to perform, and it's up to managers to decide, where they would best fit into teams. But I want to change that. Since we are moving into a functional organization, I would like my employees to have specialized expertise, and I want to formally train them to help them become experts in their fields. And the final decision in this round is about the span of control, which is about, whether you want a very flat organization or a very hierarchical organization. Because EcoTrip is currently a small company with only so many employees per function, I'm just going to choose 4. I could go with 2 or as wide as 8 people, but I'm going to just stick with 4 for now as the number of individuals who should be under the supervision of a manager at each level of the organization. And let's submit the decisions. And this time, I was able to successfully move into the next phase. Right now, the organization has a functional structure, and some of the metrics have increased. So if I look at, for example, the processes, I can see that I have higher productivity levels, and our decision-making time is now faster than the market average, and I have a way better communication in place. So I can analyze all of these metrics here on the results page. and compare them against the metrics from the previous snapshot, and then I can start the new round when I'm ready. The simulation's correct answers are designed to reflect or align with the general recommendations by organizational theorists, but it also gives partial points for partially correct answers. So in the previous round, if you remember, when I selected 4 as the value for the span of control, I would still be able to move into the functional phase if I selected 2 or 6 rather than the correct answer of 4, because of the combination of the other correct decisions I made. So and I think it gives you a good idea. So I will also play round 3 and see where I end up. Now, on the facilitator side, I can look at the results on this page with the names of the people who played, the number of their current play. They can play up to 3 times if the facilitator allows during the setup. And I can also see the structure of the learners ended up with in each round. For example, Alva Hopkins here played like me. She was stuck in the informal structure by the end of round 1, but she was able to move to the functional structure. And then in the next, at the end of the simulation, she was in the divisional structure. Whereas Adam Silva played it perfectly. He was able to push the organization towards the matrix structure by the end. On the class summary page, we can see the aggregated data from across the group. The students per phase charts show the number of learners who ended up in each of these structures by the end of round 1, 2, and 3. And you can see, like, some people can also get fired if you're not able to move your organization out of the informal structure in 2 consecutive rounds. You end up fired. And here you can see the number of students per structure by the end of each phase, and the student responses, or the breakdown of correct and incorrect answers for each type of question, and which phase the learners were in that round. So you can move between rounds using these arrows, and within each round you can see the number of correct and incorrect answers. There are debrief slides and videos available, as well as the facilitator's guide as usual. So it comes with a good pool of facilitator resources. And the simulation can be completed in about a 2-hour long workshop. So you can allocate about 10 minutes for facilitator to do the introduction, another 10 minutes perhaps for the learners to do the initial reading or prep step. And if they're playing individually, they can complete the gameplay in about 30 minutes. If it's a team setup, it can go up to 45 to 60 minutes. And the debrief can be completed in about 30 or 45 minutes. And I could not help but think that we at Forio have been going through this change. I feel like we are moving into more specialized units, with the sales team's responsibilities being more focused and refined. I just couldn't help but think about it. And, I think the kinds of organizations who go through organizational change, who are growing, would benefit from this simulation. They would like to run this simulation. Um, yeah, that's all I can think about. Any questions or thoughts? I'd love to hear.
Thank you
That's
so
great.
much, Bahar.
My mic's all the way over there. No, it's a really useful sim. It's very similar to Honey Heritage. You know, if we were thinking, I think it's a sim that we could sell as a package with like Honey Heritage, Change Management, Evolving Structures. Those three sims go really well together because they're all essentially teaching you the same sort of thing through different ways. Like this could also be sold as a change sim, but um, I've referenced this simulation numerous times to friends and family who I know are in companies that started really small and have gotten really big and they haven't changed anything. It's really useful. I would say probably our difficulty though is from a selling perspective is that um, it's going to take a very self-aware CEO or a very self-aware leadership team to want to implement this because hopefully they're trying to get ahead. But you know, for example, if you like this simulation, like imagine pitching it to your CEO, like, "Hey, there's this great game I think we should do."
Yeah. That's funny, Brock. Bahar, I think you did so well on it. Before I jump in, a couple comments that caught my attention in a good way. Nick or Rob or Holly, any thoughts here?
Well, it's always well done, Bahar. And also it's really attractive. How is that a recent
Mm-mm.
build?
No,
Huh.
No,
it's
it's
pretty old.
interesting. And I can't remember the this is one we took over from someone else, if I remember correctly. Will would have some more insight. I just remember years ago when I was doing QA, we had this, it was sort of like given to us, ported over somehow, and we were doing a lot of UI work on it because some of the like the elements on the page were out of alignment. We've had so we've had it for at least it was probably sometime like I'd say probably back in 2015 when we
Yeah.
Oh,
2015 2016 when we probably had it or started
This would
working on it.
there'd be so much more. I know that there's so much more work to this than what I'm saying, but you know, this would be a sim. I like if it was adaptable, like you could change the market sector, I think would make it extremely more attractive. So because like travel agencies have kind of gone away, so you know the storyline could be not damaging, but like if you could change it to a marketing company, if you could change it to you know, like it would like again, especially if we have some sort of control over the design. But obviously, it's Harvard's. That's a random thought though. So
Yeah, now I'm just looking at our website and I see that the SBJAN or Jane Institute of Management and Research is called out. And I think that's where it started with, and then like it went over to Harvard. But I could have the history all wrong.
Yeah. Oh, it's
Uh,
fun.
it is interesting. Yeah, it's a cool. It really does look good. Yeah, and it's fun to. It was even fun to QA, so I like it.
Yeah.
is there like an inherent what am I trying to say? Are any of these posited as better than the other these structures? I suppose like I guess academically is there in
it's
the guy yeah I'm
It
yeah,
curious.
fundamentally,
depends.
it's more about. Sorry, Bahar.
Sorry,
It's your
go ahead.
demo. It's your demo.
No, no, no. Go ahead. Go ahead.
No, it's more about like thinking in terms of like the change your company is going through. It's not that like one structure is right. It's understanding that if how many are on us? Four. If the six of us all had a company that was not 4EO, and all of a sudden we got an influx of like 10,000 more customers than what it's saying, it's trying to teach you that like what got you here is not going to get you there. You have to change the fundamental structure of your company as you continue to grow, or else you're going to stagnate. Like, you know, that start of the game where it's like, hey, I'm doing too much. It's kind of like the fundamental thing is drawing your attention. There is a correct strategy you can play through it, but it's more about like putting those systems in place and showing you at different levels you need different systems.
Sure, that
And
makes sense.
that's what it's trying to push you to,
Yeah, that makes sense.
which is the same lesson in Honey Heritage. It's just more personal because you're running a family business and it gets more cutthroat. It's like a little Agatha Christie mystery. Not really, but that's what I think of.
Bahar, I think you did an awesome job on this one. And I appreciate I had some of the same thoughts you did, like as we're going through this. Like this very much applies to where we are right now and will continue to. And I think that's a general takeaway for me, and Holly leads to your question, like org design, I would say there are a few truths in terms of, oh, every business should have this design. I
Mm,
think people want that. They're like, oh, a matrix organization always makes
Mm.
sense, or, this type of hierarchy makes sense here. And it's not true.
no.
And I think it comes down to, it's very much, you can pick any other metaphor, like I don't know, a football team organization, or, how a general like organizes an army. It's like there are inherently trade-offs with every single choice.
Mm,
Like a matrix organization makes some real interesting sense for this goal that you're trying to solve, and it's probably like an acute problem. But you also introduce problems every time you do this, and it's just that you have to accept that. There is no like, oh, if I have 3 layers of middle management in a team of 500 versus 2 layers, it's like you solve some things and you definitely create problems elsewhere, and you need to like accept those and acknowledge them, and try to like solve for them. Is like at least my takeaway from reading too many case studies on this. I do not have the degree in like actually getting the empirical data, but it's I think just acknowledging that there are trade-offs,
mhm,
and
mhm.
wrong answers. Full stop. There are wrong answers, but it's hard to say there's the obvious right every time. And so I think this is a great highlight of that. And Bahar, I think that's one thing I think about on your pitch for this is how to make sure that this is just pointing out to like relevant for any type of team member. This is not just a simulation for like the manager sitting there pie in the sky drawing shapes on a whiteboard for org charts or whatever. Like
Mhm.
this is relevant for you in a team of 3 people, and like how do you organize yourself versus like, hey, how do I manage up, right? How do I tell my team member like, hey, this isn't working for us for XYZ reasons. This would be a
Mm.
better alternative. I you know I hope you all know like I love that with Inforio, but it's super relevant even in large organizations. Like going up 3, 4 levels when there's 1,000 people can really make or break how decisions are made. This is cool. And Nick, I agree with your comment right away. Like this one just looked nice. I like the toys, the toyification, or I forgot how you phrased it. It reminds me of like a really grateful way of Lexi when we're designing these new ones. I think you can tell some of like the journey from our earliest Sims were like academically rigorous to now they're like academically rigorous and appealing.
Yeah.
It's cool to see.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
just easier to like go through when you're consuming the data in a certain way, right? I think that's a
Hmm.
Mm.
factor. About your point about the matrix thing, one thought that I had is as you were going through it, Bahar, is that it's like some of our sims are very open-ended in what the results are and kind of like what they're going for and what you can do. And it's interesting. We definitely have sims like this one that's like on a mission, right? Like
Mhm.
the if you're like saying, "Oh, I want to do this sim," it's because you're trying to convince the people who are taking it that like we want to move to a matrix organization or whatever. And so it is very interesting the difference between those. I'm actually curious if the background of this was like someone trying to accomplish that, or were they trying to set up a simulation to allow other people to accomplish that, if that question makes sense.
Um, if I understand correctly, so as you are playing, you get these news from the simulation. You see that there's a rapid growth at some point. You start from 5 to 50 employees, and then at some point you have 600 employees. So there's like a rapid growth,
Hmm.
and also you start to get these feedback from your customer base. People start complaining about the company being too big now, and they don't really care about, or they don't pay attention to local customers expectations, and you have to take all of these news into account when you are making your decisions. And
Hmm.
the simulation is designed to push you through all of those phases one by one, and you get to see how, like Brock mentioned, a different structure fits well with the different conditions now you are at compared to the past.
Whoever has the web page for this, I would definitely make sure that entrepreneurship is one of the keywords. I know it doesn't necessarily seem immediately like an entrepreneurship sim, but if you think about it in terms of like food truck, if you again stacking food truck, coffee shop, and then something like evolving structures of dealing with that Obviously there's entrepreneurs, there's intrapreneurs, but entrepreneurs do have to deal with that. Hey, we started the company's successful. Now the company's really successful, but this is not working anymore. We've got to restructure. Now, oftentimes those are different CEOs, but it would also be a really great sim. I would put this in the entrepreneurship category, especially because I think we're thin on sims that we put in that category. So I would definitely include this one in that.
I wholeheartedly agree. And Bahar, going back to your point about thinking about Foreo on this, we do not have the issue of this given the size of our company today. But one thing I think a lot about with software companies in 2025, if we were at like 100 people, we would probably have a team of designers, a team of product managers, and obviously a team of engineers in terms of kind of the product side. In 2025, those lines are getting really blurry in an interesting way because a ambitious designer can come up with a product spec right away. A product manager that's also excited and has a little bit of technical chops can design something in Figma and get a prototype going and lovable in like 3 hours in a way that like is both exciting and probably terrifying for the engineers too, because everyone starts having more product ideas, right? It's I find this like fascinating just in like how the world of work is evolving. Like though it from like 2015 up until like 2 years ago, design product engineering was kind of like a nice clean split that like any software company would have. It'll still exist in some way, but like the roles and responsibilities, like it's as a if you're trying to lead a team of 15 designers, like how would you tell them how deep to go into the product is a really hard question to answer. It's like the jury's out, right? And that's why I think this sim is perfect because it's not like there's no like correct answer, like, oh, of course the designer should go 10% further into the product. It's like, your own team has to kind of work through that. I find this stuff fascinating, as you can tell, and I'm glad we have a sim on it. Anyway, I know we're past time, but Bahar, well done. And I don't know what we're selling of this one right now. I have a hunch it's not a lot. I feel like this one, yeah, I feel like this one should be like this is hopefully like a favorite outcome with these demos. Like I hope this one is introduced more earlier into your conversations with customers because I think this could and should be a good one given the state of the world of work right now.